And just to give you a sense of how overcrowded it's gotten here, the neighbors have had to move the kitchen out into the backyard. It's the only way they're able to feed everybody. Now, the criminals didn't just take all the money from this cash register, they also stole hundreds of dollars worth of scratch-off tickets. And they didn't stop there. They also stole dozens of Newport cigarette packs. Officials here in Mamaroneck have been keeping an eye on the storm for close to a week. Starting on Tuesday, that's when they started lowering the level of water here in this reservoir. Now, NYPD officers who worked with her say that she was more than a good cop. She had a great personality, came to work every day with a huge smile. Hey, Michelle, you know, I have a theory. I think that pilot knew News 12 is going to be right here because we could not have picked a better spot to see the shuttle. It circled right above us, did the spectacular U-turn. We got it all on tape. Take a look for yourself.
Melissa Colorado reports a new, much closer venue has been found.
You might have caught our story last week. It was about these seniors here at the North Rockland Center for Meals on Wheels. They weren't happy with having to move all the way down to Nyack. Well, somebody was watching that story and decided to help these seniors out.
I've been here 24 years.
Let's refresh your memories for a bit. Last week, 92-year-old Kathleen DeGrow of Garnerville told us there was no way she was going to the new Meals on Wheels location in Nyack. Her frail body could not handle the trip.
I just can't do it. So I'll stay home.
It turns out Stony Point supervisor Jeffrey Finn was watching.
On your station the other day, I seen Miss DeGroat, Dotsy, who I've known the family for many, many years, hit home when she said she had to stay home and not be able to get out to meet her friends.
So he came up with a solution. The seniors are saying goodbye to this crowded basement.
Oh, why?
And hello to the sprawling center in Letchworth Village in Stony Point.
This is the room. We have a large room, a big enough room here. It's probably 2 or 3 times bigger than the room they're currently in.
And the perks don't stop there. There's a library, a pool table, and of course, handicap accessible ramps.
It's a great thing for the town of Stony Point to reach out and help our senior citizens. They've given us so much.
But no one is happier than Kathleen herself.
Well, it seems like my picture on the news brought this about.
And no, she's not staying home. Kathleen is coming to the new place. In Stony Point, Melissa Colorado, News 12. More than 100 Con Ed workers aren't spending July 4th with their friends and family, but they're outside of this Con Ed facility in Valhalla, picketing with their fellow union members.
What do we want?
Contract!
When do we want it?
Now!
I think a lot of people died. I think a lot of people suffered for the ability to protest and freedom of speech. And I can't think of a better way to celebrate that than be out here celebrating our rights.
American flags and picket signs in hand, Con Ed union workers chanted and marched this morning for an end to the labor dispute with the utility company. Talks between union leaders and Con Ed broke down on Sunday. 8,500 workers have been locked out since then.
We're not 8,500 light switches. I mean, we're the ones that deal with the gas leaks, the live electricity, the burns.
At stake, medical benefits, pay raises, and pensions. Jerry Hibbard has devoted 11 years of his life to Con Ed and fears the company will make drastic cuts to his pension.
If I want to put 30 years into something, I want something out of it. I'm entitled to a life after, I'm entitled to get old too.
For now, these workers have been replaced by managers. So far, no reports of any blackouts in Westchester. Now, these workers are planning on heading to downtown Manhattan tomorrow for a giant rally outside the Con Ed headquarters. We're in Valhalla. Melissa Colorado, News 12.
Tappan Zee Express to Spring Valley.
Pay $3 for a ride on the Tappan Zee Express, and this is the view you get. The bus is the only mass transit option to get to and from Rockland and Westchester County. More than 1,800 people ride the bus every weekday.
Stop requested.
But during the morning and evening rush hours, this is the other view. Red taillights for miles and miles. The current Tappan Zee Bridge does not have a bus-only lane.
You're sitting there for 2 hours wondering, do I go up to Bear Mountain? Do I go back to the city? I think those are the times when you look up at the bridge and go, not fun.
Bruce Woodcock lives in Nyack, but his job is in New York City. It's a commute he's been making for 30 years, and for him, mass transit on the new Tappan Zee Bridge is a must.
I think if people can get to work easier, it cuts down on wasted time and effort. It cuts down on the carbon footprint if you're not sitting in traffic.
For years, the state was trying to figure out how to build a new Tappan Zee Bridge with a commuter rail line and a bus service. Well, in the fall of 2010, the state came out with this report. Consultants for the state came up with these designs for the new bridge. One idea was to have a commuter rail run between the eastbound and westbound sides. Another design called for a separate level for trains, a rail line directly underneath drivers. But then came the price tag, $16 billion, money the state says it doesn't have right now.
Governor's a proponent of mass transit, but any mass transit component has to be affordable for the motorists and taxpayers of New York State.
Larry Schwartz is secretary to Governor Cuomo. He warns that if the new bridge were to have a commuter rail line and a bus rapid service, the cost would push the tolls way up.
At least a $30 toll to get over the Tappan Zee Bridge. That is fiscally irresponsible. That is totally unaffordable.
The new Tappan Zee Bridge is expected to have 8 lanes, plus an emergency lane and a shoulder for vehicles to pull over. And that's not all.
The new Tappan Zee Bridge will have express bus service capability and probably will have a dedicated HOV lane during rush hour.
But transit advocates say that's not enough.
This new bridge project does nothing to address traffic congestion. All it does is make a wider bridge, but it does not do anything to get people out of their cars.
Veronica Vanderpool works for the Tri-State Transportation Campaign. The group is pushing for the state to build a 24/7 bus rapid transit system on the new bridge.
Anytime the bridge is a nightmare, it's caused by some sort of vehicular failure. A car that breaks down.
Commuters like Scott Siegler of West Nyack are all for it.
You build a bridge like this once every 50, 100 years. To put a bridge in that doesn't have the most mass transit options it could possibly have is just an incredible waste, a generation's waste.
And for the man who's crossed the bridge for what seems like generations,
I've waited for the express bus service, and I'm hoping that there's going to be an HOV lane.
while he waits for the new bridge, one thing doesn't change.
It's a beautiful view, though, isn't it? It's worth it sometimes at the end of the day to see this.